Farm4Profit podcast. Take a listen, have a blast. Farm4Profit podcast. Learn about farming while having a laugh. Farm4Profit podcast.
And listeners, welcome back to the Farm for Profit podcast. Tanner, Corey, Dave, sitting here on a Farm for Fun show. And
Is this a fun show?
I'm hoping it's fun.
I didn't think this was a fun show.
It's
All right.
happy
I thought it was
anniversary.
Okay. All right, we're celebrating.
Happy anniversary to you.
All right, we're celebrating.
To Dave.
All right. Just
There
had
you
one
go.
of those in my pocket.
Right.
Just had one of those in my pocket.
Just so
in
happen to
case.
have this in my pocket.
Yep.
Oh, we're still brought to you by Pattern Ag, predicting pest and pathogen risks in your fields. Don't gamble with your yields. Go to www.pattern.ag today.
Don't gamble with your podcast either.
First, we're gambling with this one. We really kind of are.
Well, as a listener, don't gamble with your podcast. You got to listen to us.
That's right. That's right. This is the first fun show of the fourth year of the Farm for Profit podcast.
Wow. 4 years.
Less than 30% of podcasts make it 3 years. So you would
Less
only
than
assume that 4 years is even less than that. I just couldn't find a statistic for it.
I mean, 30% is pretty good. 3 years. I mean, I thought like most podcasts don't make it to like episode 6.
Well, also fair. Yeah. So that
Everybody's got a podcast, though.
everybody does.
They
That's
do.
right. Even we do.
What do you think the next thing is that's not a podcast? Do you think there's a next podcast?
Ooh, good question.
People like watching things.
Yeah.
Vlogs?
like- Vlogs.
I think
TikTok.
I think you'd be
podcasts.
able to search videos. Like if we've got a 45-minute episode here, someone will be able to type in a story about getting arrested, and it'll take you right to the 10-minute, 20-second mark
yeah.
to get Dave's story of when he got arrested. So you only watch the parts you want to watch.
Right. Here, we're going to go live.
We could go live, sure, on the Farm for Profit account.
Let's get the intro done.
Okay, we'll get through the intro here. This, again, Farm for Fun show. You guys, if you've been with us for all 4 years, thank you. But it's different than our Profit show. Profit show comes out on Monday. We just had one of those. Again, probably said happy anniversary. So thanks again for sticking it out. We like your reviews. We appreciate it when you subscribe and leave those to us. We got an email sent to us from Caleb S. He says, an avid listener. I really enjoy the podcast. To your vast array of guests. Uh-oh, we're going to let him down because we don't have any guests today.
Wow.
We are the guests.
We are the guests.
You know, we have a lot of topic suggestions. We get a lot of people suggested for Farm for Fun shows, but there is not one person out there that has been requested more to have a Farm for Fun show done than us. It is fascinating how much you guys want to have us do a show about ourselves.
Why do you think that is? Like,
What?
There's a lot of people that have just come in and like they probably didn't catch the early days, and
Yeah.
I'm with them. Like, why would you go back and listen to the early stuff if you got the new stuff?
Well, and we focus so much on our guests. We focus so much on our topics. And honestly, we fought this. I don't think we really wanted to do this show. Is that the way to start an episode out?
Right. Like, well, our guest list is so long, like it feels almost like it's not a waste. But it feels like we're not going forward, not getting a guest on.
But what a better time to do it than to celebrate 4 years. So again, Dave, Corey, congrats. And thanks for
Congrats
putting
to you.
up with me for 3 years.
So I
Dave,
got you the
for
4
years.
The 4 putter.
The 4 putter. The
Four.
foreskin putter.
Foreskin butter. No foreskin.
No foreskin. Oh, that's probably going to make its way to
Where-
social media
where
somewhere.
is that
isn't it?
putter?
I put it back in the box, and it's across the table. But
good
yeah,
place.
we should probably jump into. You got me turned on over there, Dave.
Yep.
You know how to do that. I'm turned on. We'll get launch into a introduction today.
And you want me to do an intro?
It's kind of your thing.
I did not know this was a Farm for Fun show. I did not create an intro.
Hey, what?
You guys don't deserve an intro. And to my left, I've got David Whitaker, the auctioneer and realtor. And to my right, a banker, Tanner Winterhoff.
Yeah, it's just the guy. Well, that was anticlimactic. Yeah, we will.
I thought that was
And Iowa's worst farmer.
I thought that was the Home Depot intro.
Does
Does your barbecue work with?
That is funny. I think in like the third or fourth shelf is a stand for your phone. I think it's got like a GoPro base on it. Grab that. I think we will go live on TikTok.
on the Farm for Profit account?
I will go live on the Farm for Profit account.
That's a tripod.
Maybe a little nope, go up with the lights. In with the lights. So yeah, guys, let's spend a little bit of time here letting our listeners get to know more about us as hosts. We ask the questions all the time to our guests. So Dave, first off, let's give your elevator speech. Who is Mr. Whitaker?
Oh man, I gotta go first.
Because I told you to.
Gotcha. Father, husband.
You're speechless. Dave's speechless.
I know, right?
This is a terrible show.
This is horrible. Lots of things. I was trying to think of what to say first. Do I say auctioneer first? Do I say father first? Do I say husband first? What do I say? So podcast host first. So host from the beginning of the Farm for Profit podcast, and then melded into Farm for Fun and more. Realtor, auctioneer, retired firefighter, and father of two, husband, live in Ames from Montana, and like to do fun things, like to learn a lot, and I'm a techie.
Techie. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Let's see here. Let's flip the camera view.
And flip the script on Farm for Profit.
All right. Who is Corey Hillebo?
I am a 35-year-old farmer from central Iowa. Joined Farm for Profit podcast, one of the co-hosts. Started the Farm for Fun side of things in mid-2020 when there wasn't nothing better to do. Told these guys that they needed to spice it up a little bit. Father, married, father of two beautiful girls, 7 and 3, Ava and Hallie. Let's see, farm corn, soybeans, hogs. Had aronia berries since 2014. Got rid of them all last year. And
Talking to the mic.
That's about me.
Talk into the mic. I wish there was a Zoom on, because we're only going to get the two of you on live. So, Dave, you'll have to sit closer to the soundboard. So you can get in there, and then you're probably going to have to watch the live to pick comments up as far as listeners go. I am Tanner Winterhoff. I am an agriculture and commercial lender by professional trade. Clear back, oh gosh, it's been a long time. 8 years ago, started the Farm for Profit conference. Did almost 5 years of an in-person meeting, having the same types of guests on that we have as interviews here. Just it was one time a year, first Friday of every December. Always competed against Farmer to Farmer when FBN started their meeting, and we did quite well. That's how I met Dave originally, because of the connection from bankers to auctioneers. But Dave was the first land values presenter at the Farm for Profit conference, formerly known as the Ames Ag Summit.
Yes.
So yes, kind of my brainchild was Farm for Profit, and bummed off Dave's equipment in Dave's basement. But here we are 4 years later. I grew up a farrow to finish hog farm in northwest Iowa with row crops. I married into a fat cattle feedlot with row crops here in central Iowa. A banker that can drive a semi, enjoys playing golf, and making podcasts.
Founder.
Owner.
What do we put? Editor and chief?
Editor-in-chief.
That's what we put.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what are we doing on this show? It's just us three.
We are. We're just going to talk about the three of us. So as it relates to the podcast, how would you describe your role on the podcast, Corey?
Chief and fun, or fun chief, whatever. Like, and how I came into the podcast was, like I said, in 2020. It was June or May of 2020. You had me and Quentin Keneally on a Farm for Profit podcast when you guys were every other week.
Yep.
And we were talking about social media, I think, and how it can help grow your farm, or how it can help your perception on the farm. And I got done with that, and I'd always been a listener, and we'd always talked, and I said, you guys
were going to do a podcast before.
Well, we had talked about that. Tanner and I said, I love agriculture. I love sports. I loved listening to like Pat McAfee and the non-PC. The non-PC. Like, I liked ESPN, but like, they couldn't say some certain things. And I like, Pat McAfee, and then like on the music side, Wheeler Walker Jr., like where you get a little like into the weeds.
Right.
And I'm like, we need that in ag. Like, no one does that. There's a few that kind of touch get close to the line, but they don't cross it.
Manure Mafia says, wait, what year is this?
But we never did that, because, well, obviously we would have been canceled probably.
That's
but
true.
2020 came around. We had that episode. I said, hey, we need to spice it up. Let me just come in. Let's call it a Farm for Fun. We'll get some beer from a local brewery and just drink some beer and shoot the shit. No script. Well, not that we have scripts anyway, but we do have outlines. Mm-hmm. And, the rest is history. What did we have for downloads
When you joined?
before I came on?
39, 40. It was like the customer base that I had in my parents. And they probably downloaded it multiple times because they felt bad.
Right.
I would say probably a year in we had, 300 maybe?
Yeah.
But it was very, very minimal. A lot of the success of the podcast is definitely attributed to Corey's idea of mixing it up a little bit.
Yep.
And we just heard from a guest that that's exactly what the customer wants.
Mm-hmm.
And, Manure Mafia. What year is it? It is 2023.
4 years.
We are still a podcast.
Yeah.
4 years later.
I remember when we first started in your basement bedroom. Mm-hmm. Your mother-in-law had just left.
Yeah.
We pulled the old, I can't remember if it was a nightstand or whatever it was, into the middle of the room. We were almost nose to nose with the microphones.
Pretty close, yeah.
And we recorded.
We were looking for sound deadening. Yeah. So we went into my basement that was probably the best insulated, most carpet, most everything.
Had a curtain, carpet, had big old quilt on the bed.
And you didn't get the echo.
And it was like 10 steps from the bathroom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we pulled, I still have that deal. It's kind of like a wine rack.
That's what it was.
Wine rack. And it sat up high, but there was no room for your legs underneath or anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank God Dave bought an office and finished out his boardroom.
Can you imagine trying to get some of the guests that we've got on to
We
come
had
to your
people
basement?
come down to your basement.
Tim Kauser
came
down, and
was it also Samson?
Brian Sampson came
Sampson?
in. Yeah, we did. We had people coming in. No, Brian Sampson, Sampson Farms.
Did we also was that Kyle Wywood, CPA? Did he do his first one with us down there?
I think he did, yeah. It was
a little awkward.
There was 3 or 4 guests, and we're like, hey, we're in the basement.
Come into my
This
basement.
is
I
what
swear nothing bad will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's been the fun part is watching how the podcast has evolved, because we started off on a 4-channel mixer to where the most people we could have was 4 guests. Mm-hmm. And now we've got a 16-channel mixer that we could actually splice in with more to have more than that.
We listened to a podcast on how to do a podcast before we did a podcast.
That's true. That's true. We went from having mics that we held to boom stands, and every time you'd touch the mic stand, it'd go boom.
Because it has springs on them.
Yep. And then we went to pedestals, which we've got a pedestal here that I got to use today when we only have 4 headsets now. Mm-hmm. But the pedestals are fine until a guest would turn their face away from the mic, and you couldn't.
And they're not omnidirectional and don't stay with it. Yep.
And now we've got headsets, so no matter where you look, we can certainly hang out and not have to worry about as much work on the editing side.
It feels like we're announcing like a baseball game.
Yeah. A little bit of fun.
Or trucker talk.
So since that's how we started, you guys have a favorite memory or something that sticks out from since then? Since joining the podcast, something that you remember?
Oh, man.
So while we're thinking about it, how about you answer that one?
Well, so what's top of my mind right now is the after party from Farm Progress Show.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Obviously, we're trying to find some place to have a party in Illinois this year, but not only just the people that were at that party being genuine and super thankful that we organized it. I mean, we had no motive except for we just wanted the people we've interviewed, the people that we've talked to have a fun and safe place to go hang out. Turned out to be so much more camaraderie. I mean, that night was awesome. I also have really enjoyed now our 2 years going down to Kentucky, going down to Louisville. But I still go back to my favorite interview was the former FBI that talked to us about negotiations from, and I can't remember where he was from. I got Netherlands in my mind, but it was
Eastern Europe somewhere.
Yeah,
Huh?
he that was something that was really fun.
I was going to say probably the first time we went down to National Farm Machinery Show. You know, just the camaraderie down there with all the TikTokers and the group that we had. Like, that was when it kind of just felt like it was something, right? Like, hey, we're actually getting paid to travel and do something, and joke's on you. We would have done it for free, you know, type of deal.
Yep.
Like, so that was pretty cool. And then there's been I can't name one interview because there's been so many, and I feel like we keep upping that. Like, it's constantly moving the bar.
Miles
higher.
Schraner, I remembered his name. Yeah,
The FBI guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Dave?
I don't know that I have a. You saying best memory?
I just
I think the
memories.
best memory is not necessarily in the studio. There's been a lot of laughs in the studio. So there's been. I was trying to think of some of the best guests from Justin Danger to Growing Corn that we laughed a whole lot, and that was pretty fun. Where it takes your mind off of working. Even when you maybe start the podcast, you're like, I'm missing other stuff. But then by the end, you're like, oh, man, I'm glad
You
we did
checked
that.
out for an hour.
You checked out for an hour. So those are good memories. But I like it when we got to travel. And actually, I liked our Commodity Classic trip that we just did. That was a pretty fun one where we got to go out to eat and got to network.
That's
and
true. We really ate what we wanted to and where we wanted to.
And it was probably the coolest place that we've ever got to. Now, we did one in the Foundry, which we were in a brewery that was pretty cool. But that one, we were on top of the world. And so for me, that was like the pinnacle of coolness because it was like we are at the biggest booth on top of the world at one of the largest farm conventions out there. And we're this little old podcast.
Right.
So that was a cool memory for me.
That
It
is
was
a cool one.
It was also pretty cool when everyone came up. We had the auction, the TBF
oh,
auction.
Yep.
right. Yep.
And for Burkhart. And
That was fun to learn the first impact of your connections. You know, you knew you had followers, you knew you had people that were hanging out and really appreciating what you were doing. But to see that we raised over $40,000 for that auction, knowing that it was Dave's expertise on how you take a picture, the donations that we received, and then the full-on effort. What I'll never forget is packing T-shirts in my basement. Just send out to
yeah.
You were a pack mule for a while.
And me going to the post office and sending everything out.
That's the non-glorious part of an auction. Yep.
Varen on TikTok. We're live on TikTok as well. Says, is this a thirst
Is
trap?
this a thirst trap?
And he says, clearly I was the best interview. Well, Varen, you can't be the best interview because your show doesn't come out until tomorrow. So no one even knows that yet.
That's funny. He is the best-looking fat guy.
In ag.
In ag.
Yeah, I got knocked down a peg there.
Yeah, that's a bummer. That's a bummer. So those are memories from the past.
What's the worst memory?
Ooh, I still go back to that guy that ate my peanuts. That ate
That was funny, though.
That ate my cashews. So down at National Farm Machinery Show
Okay.
this year, Corey and I were doing Farm Fit Mama stuff, and so we had tried to pack healthy snacks. We had protein bars, we
Yeah.
had cheese sticks and oranges, and I brought a big old thing of cashews.
Big old sack of nuts.
No,
A big old jar of nuts. And set them up there on the recording platform. After we were done, I was eating that. And this old guy walked up and dug his big old hand in there, took a whole handful of cashews and ate them, and then came back in and grabbed another one and motioned to his wife and said, like, "Do you want some?"
Yeah.
I'm like,
You
"Dude,
guys got nuts over here.
they're my freaking nuts. Get your hands off my nuts."
Yeah.
I mean, again, funny, but that's probably the extent of worst.
I'm going to say JPAN.
what's JPAM?
You ever follow JPAN on TikTok?
How about that?
You've had to. I know you've seen her stuff. If I showed it to you right now, you
Okay.
would see it.
Boom, dinka, bunka, dink. What was the
Thirst
song?
trap, like good-looking girl. She's from New York and always just dances around. And everyone comments on her videos,
Okay.
and she'll like pick out the hate comments and like
Okay.
just like drink out of her straw and like dance.
Like, you look like the woman that'll be lonely.
You
You'll
were
never
gone.
marry until 70 or whatever, and
Yeah.
she'll dance to with her straw.
You were gone, and she agreed to be a guest on our podcast. Because, like, in the early days, like, she was huge on TikTok. Like, and it was like, and that's all we saw. It's like, hey, you want to be a guest on the Farm4Profit podcast?
We've never talked to anybody
I don't
that
know
is
anything about ag.
100% removed from ag.
Yeah.
We wanted to try and get perspective.
Her show was actually really good. Like, a really good show. We recorded a show. It is not aired
I still have it.
yet. Well,
It's not aired.
That should be the 4-year anniversary show.
We're gonna have like a bloopers reel that goes out eventually.
So during
It should be a subscription.
So during
only
every show, we always ask people, "Hey, is there anything that's off limits? Shouldn't we stuff we should avoid?" Blah blah blah. She's like, "Well, I do have one of those links," and we're like,
oh, I remember you telling me about
"Yeah."
this.
We're like,
yeah.
"What?" Like, "Oh, like an OnlyFans,
like we were totally caught off guard.
right?" And we didn't ask about it during the show, and then we're just kind of shooting the shit afterwards and all that, and like we just asked, like, "So you make a lot of money from that, or like whatever?" And
We're
like
downright curious.
And it was nothing ever happened. Like, it was just general conversation. She didn't like alert to anything or nothing. And then like a day later or 2 days later, she's like, "Hey, I don't want you airing any of that." Because we talked about that.
And we're like, fine, we're cut. That was after show. It wasn't even recorded.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. She goes, no, like, I don't want any of the show to come out.
We're like, you just wasted an hour and a half of
All of our time.
And it was a good show. Like,
I thought it went really well.
We asked her about like what she thought of agriculture. Like, it's kind of fun to see that, like, from someone from New York. And yeah, that was probably the low, I guess, for me.
I'm still waiting. It may just slip out.
What your low is? Oh,
No. Still have the audio.
yeah. I think the worst. I can't think of a certain show, but there was a show, and I don't know who it was, but since I'm a talker, I like to interject my conversation whenever I want to, and being the host, you get to do that. So stop. Hey, take it a different direction. Hey, let's go this way. Let's do this. And there was someone that just rambled. It was just you and I, Tanner, and somebody just went on and on and on, and we're both looking at each other like, can you get in on this one? Can I get in on this one? Like, you try. And you tried a couple times. I tried a couple times. Yeah, so that's... And then they just keep talking. Well, hey, that's a great... No, and they keep talking. And I don't think we talked hardly at all.
Yeah.
The entire deal. And it was almost like, well, this was a waste of... But I don't remember. I don't know that we even aired that one. So
Mike Burkhart says, clearly the best, guys. Congratulations on 4 years. And he says, Travis will always remember the night up at your place. I went around and got a bunch of money from people so Travis could get a tattoo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Remember that? And so Travis got a pretty sweet tattoo. And then Bren again says, wait a minute, no one asked me that if anything was off limits. Hey, Bren, we did not share your OnlyFans, so you're okay, dude.
You have nothing you can say. Nothing you can say about that.
Yep.
Yeah. There haven't been a lot of lows. I mean, of course, we've had negative feedback. We've had, but that's going to come with anybody that's willing to talk about themselves or put an opinion out.
I tell you what, the biggest low is when you get so going to these farm shows and podcasting and having like an awesome week is a high. It's a damn drug. I'm telling you right now, it's a drug. You come back and you get back to reality and like nothing's going on and you're not moving and shaking and doing all that and you just feel like shit. That's a low.
Well, and we record so much at those shows to where we come back and we may not get together for 4 weeks.
Yeah, the stimulation
we've
from
got
those shows is amazing.
Yeah, got the episodes. One of the questions that we get asked a lot is whether or not we have shows that we record that we don't air. And obviously you just stated that J-Pan's one of those.
Right.
But this is probably one of those shows, too, that we're recording that won't air.
It won't air.
Not now.
Well, it's live,
Cease
so
and desist.
it's kind of out there.
That's right.
Should have been the title of the live.
But
J-Pan's Dirty Secrets.
each year, I'm sure that would catch some attention. That is absolutely correct. We also each year put out a survey, so we try to figure out who our listeners are, and we got a lot of requests this year for what the results were from that survey. So I was going to hit a couple of the high levels. I think I've shared this with you guys, so maybe you already know some of the answers to this.
Like
but
we looked at it.
What would you say by percentage? 50% of our listeners are between what ages?
20, and 40.
Give me the age groups at least.
No, 50% of our listeners are between what ages?
Well, then I got to hit it on two sides.
Yeah. 20 and 40.
25 to 35 is what I said.
Okay, so at 26 to 45.
Okay.
So you guys are both pretty close.
Yeah.
We have 30% of our audience is under the age of 25.
Okay.
And 66 and above, Mr. Burkhart, isn't he over that?
I don't.
I don't wait for the comments.
Close.
I don't know.
Gotta be close.
I
Is 2.2%.
thought he was like low 60s.
There's been others, though.
60.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even old Bill.
2.2% is still a big number when you're talking.
How old's
you know,
Bill? Bill
the numbers
Thomas?
we have.
65.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
What percentage of our audience do you think is female?
Less.
According to survey results.
10%.
I think women don't take surveys, so I don't know if I fully agree with this
10%.
factor.
35.
It's 8.9.
Oh, girls.
I think they just didn't take the survey.
In the words of the great Shania Twain, let's go, girls. Come on.
Mike Burkhart says, watch it.
Again, the father of TikTok, not the grandfather of TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
Marital status. What percentage of our listeners are single?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, so why was that on the survey?
Because when you're going to
We wanted
market
to start-
to someone,
We wanted to start the Emma's dating list or whatever.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think that 35% of our crew is married.
Is married.
Yeah.
20.
So 55% of our audience is married. 30% identified as single.
Oh, is single.
Yeah.
What the rest?
3% are divorced.
Well, are they just identifying
Others-
as single while they're at Commodity Classic, or are they identifying as single?
Most of our listeners are either farm owners or farm laborers.
Yes.
Yeah. So we aren't going to share the acres breakdown, but thanks for answering. We did have only like 68% of the respondents answered the acres question. So
Hey,
even though it was
thanks,
anonymous.
Joey, for the gift #1 gifter badge. Whatever that's cool.
What else is another key? How many times do you think our listeners listen to the podcast? So how many percentage of our audience listens to both shows every week?
Oh,
70?
70.
60.
Yeah.
25.
Oh.
Only
Wow.
25% say they listen to every show.
So we got like a big divide.
Oh, I didn't know it was every show.
Well,
Okay.
twice a week.
Okay.
We don't do more than 2 shows a week.
I was just thinking you were meaning that they listen twice a week.
Oh, no.
Got a
We've,
big divide there. That's some swag right there. Like a
Yeah.
little like tug of war.
yeah.
Maybe they should get like shirts like you're in the club. You're the 70% club.
You know, that's one thing. We have sucked tremendously at swag.
Yes.
If you guys have any suggestions for us,
It's 'cause
and not just someone trying to, hey, I'll sell you
It's
this
just-
It's
t-shirt.
because Tanner's in charge of the swag.
No, it's because you guys don't line up the swag. If you want to run with the swag shop, go right ahead. I just don't have time or the desire.
We
to
don't have
do
a
that.
sexy, cool logo like Manure Mafia.
Yeah, and Farm for Profit is not like it's just not a.
Someone
wanna
needs
wear
to
that?
design us a new Farm for Fun logo.
The reason is because, as one of you said, we are not the people you interview that you want to follow. We interview the people
yeah.
you want to follow. So you want swag from everybody we interview.
Right.
Yeah.
So we should just get free swag from every person we interview and then give it away.
Well, why can't we
to
just figure
listeners.
out how it's cool enough to have good swag?
Maybe we should just put everybody's we interviewed logos on one shirt.
There you go.
There's
Just
your swag.
a
It's just like a NASCAR
Just
jumpsuit.
like a collage.
yeah.
So how many of our listeners do you think want us to do more on YouTube?
Oh,
Percentage?
Yep.
40.
31. How many say don't do any more than we're already doing on YouTube?
100%.
45.
lots.
45%.
Don't do any more YouTubes or don't do any more podcasts?
Don't do any more podcasts on YouTube.
Like zero, like just quit. Or like just no more
Probably just no more.
per week.
Or maybe we should just do more fun stuff.
We should. Our listeners had recommended other podcasts such as Shark Farmer, Barn Talk, Future of Ag, The Business of Agriculture, Field Work, Discover Ag, and then others. So it's funny, though, when you look at the other responses, they typed in some of those other options. like Barn Talk and Shark Farmer.
Oh,
Like,
Dude, Barn Talk, you guys need to
just
come on
vote.
the podcast. Like, we've been in, love Torque and Sawyer. Those guys are freaking awesome. Talk to them any chance I can get at farm shows.
Yeah.
Did you see their new farmer grade pork box that you can
did.
get?
I did.
Shout out to them. You can go, they got a pork box now, Dave.
Oh.
Yeah.
10 pounds of pork. They got like Italian sausage, breakfast sausage,
Okay.
pork chops, bacon, and they're doing an initial run. Pretty cool. What do you think we could do a box of?
10 pounds of
Like,
pork.
I think you can do a box of, you can do a subscription box of
I
anything.
think it would come with a 6-pack of Busch Light, and,
Oh,
and
yep.
it would come with a Cayman Jack, a small orange juice.
That's our
small-
box. That's our box. Can you do that?
Here's your sample box.
right there. It's right behind you.
Here's you just
Look
put
at
it
that
all
box.
in there, and that's what you get to taste all the
all the
mixings.
mixology of
Yep.
the Farm for Profit podcast.
Yeah, I think we got to do it.
But can you ship that? We had a lot of issues shipping beer in the early days.
What percentage of our audience do you think has never purchased anything John Deere?
0.
Oh, wow.
0.
Like, there's a couple case
10%.
guys. There's a couple case guys. I'm 3.
Yeah, but I guarantee those case guys have been to a Deere dealer at one point to get a tube of grease.
3%.
18% said they've never bought anything Deere.
And probably half of those are probably lying because they're
Target.
too prideful.
They're probably the people that aren't in agriculture that listen to our podcast.
Oh, that's true.
But even them, have you purchased a John Deere book, kids book? Have you purchased a little shirt, a John Deere toy for someone?
You just made me think of like one of the worst memories on the podcast. Dark Night. Remember when we tried that beer, the Dark Angel?
Oh, the Tyrant
or
of
the
Darkness.
Tyrant of Darkness.
That was the highest of the high.
No, that was the worst
Oh,
of the
that
worst.
was a-
Dude, I got a bottle of that stuff.
IPA nasty.
No, that's an
Oh.
Imperial Stout.
That was a great beer.
So many flavors. Mm-hmm. That came from our friend Brody.
Yeah, that was a great beer. I still refer to that beer when
Bodie.
people want something from Bodie. No, Brady Smith.
Bruh, fuck. Hold on. We'll cut that out. that was from our friend Brady.
This is a good beer. Yes, I recommend that beer
I don't know.
a lot.
So,
Okay, so
4 years, what have you learned?
what have I learned? Oh, as soon as we stopped trying to come up with the ideas of who we were going to interview, and we listened to the responses that came in our email, our audience grew. Just because I thought that we needed to talk to an accountant, or we needed to talk to an agronomist, or we needed to talk to somebody, clearly meant nothing.
When we started, you had 10 in a row that we had. 10 what we were going to try for.
Yep.
10 what?
10 guests or 10 topics. We are going to go 10 in a row, 10 topics.
Yep. And now we open our email inbox. And if somebody says, oh, you should talk with Eric Snodgrass from Nutrien, we go talk to Eric Snodgrass.
What do you think is one thing that we haven't covered yet in ag? I feel like we haven't covered spray drones very well. Like, I know we've talked about them.
We haven't done anything. We've had several emails about goats and like sheep. Mm-hmm. We haven't done anything.
We've got invited to talk at
That's
a
right.
freaking international sheep conference in like Norway.
We should have.
Yeah.
The trips have been the best part.
We really should have done that.
And
We could have sheared sheep.
we're supposed to go to Canada to shear sheep.
Yeah.
Was that this summer?
Maybe we're missing an audience portion there.
We're missing. I mean,
There's
Canada's
a lot of
vast-
sheep out there.
Yeah.
We have missed. We haven't done AI as it relates to. That's new topic. Just artificial intelligence. We have a little bit with like the unmanned tractors, but not to the extent that it could go and where it could go. So that's a possible feature.
That's endless.
But yeah,
I'd like to dive into more. I know we've talked about like the combine automation, like how it like sets the combine for you as you're going through the field
Right.
and things like that. Like where it's not like an autonomous tractor, but the thing is
reading stuff. The
Figuring
other
stuff
thing
out.
is we've always talked about the future and profitability. We never talked about. We did talk about the 80s and the difference between now and the 80s, but
Yeah.
we didn't talk about old. So if we wanted to use Blue Ocean Theory, okay, Blue Ocean Theory book out there talks about go to the audience that we're not hitting. So the old guys. How do we get the old guys here? We talk about something they want to talk about. Well, maybe the good old days. We haven't had a good old days talk.
Yeah.
What was farming like for you and you and
Right.
you? Because we haven't interviewed anybody that.
Right. We get asked a lot too about beginning farmer stuff.
Yeah.
And we've done like beginning farmer financing,
Done a
but we
couple.
haven't had a true. This is examples of how people got started farming.
Right. And on top of that, too, not just the good old days, but there's a lot of younger guys that will farm. Like we talk about technology and how it can and save you money.
We talked
make
about
you
that
money.
with GPS today. Yeah.
But there's a lot of younger guys that are realizing, like, hey, some people don't want this old Case tractor or this old John Deere tractor
Yep.
that's still got life left in it. It's $4,000 on the auction. I can buy that cheap horsepower. I don't have to buy a $10,000 GPS subscription or a globe or a monitor, and I can just go out and drive it. And guess what? That John Deere 7000 planter plants pretty dang good.
Yep.
You know, at 4.5 mile an hour, and it's really low overhead. They might be making more. I bet they are making more money per acre than some of these guys. So
Mike
we haven't covered
Berthard
that.
just asked a question. I'll answer it on my side. In the beginning, how far did you think the podcast would go? So when Tanner came to me, he's like, we should do a podcast. I'm like, what? Nobody listens to
What?
podcasts.
No way.
No way. And I thought, this'll last a year. We'll do it for a year because we have consistency, but we'll probably meld back into the show, the conference that we were putting on. And it all depended on viewership. And I was willing to go as long as Tanner was willing to go. Little to my knowledge, he was ready to go in the long run. So I don't know how long he thought it would go.
How long do you think it go, Tanner?
Oh, I had hopes that people would enjoy the conversation. And at one point in time, I had over 300 episodes, like topics that could be spelled out.
Some of the lists that he had.
Did your wife think it would go very long? Like, how long did your wife think it was going to go?
The real boss.
She didn't think anybody would want to listen to me.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to listen to me. Nobody wants to listen to him.
She is the boss, though.
Oh, the one topic we've not talked about. My wife always says, you've never had me on the podcast. You've never had me on the podcast.
What
It's
you
an
wanna talk
open
about?
invite. Every time we're here.
That's what she
can
says
come
all the
sit
time.
on it.
What
We
does
have
she wanna
other
talk
farm
about?
girls. You've never officially invited me.
Officially.
And
She doesn't listen, so she wouldn't hear it.
all right, yes, that's my wife's from too. I do. Yeah. So, did I ever imagine the audience size would be what it is? No, I was thinking 1,000 people was wild because when you looked across a room full of 350 people at a conference, that's a lot of people to talk in front of. To imagine what it would look like to sit in front of 1,000 people, I never thought we'd
So
have more.
let's
than
talk about. Well, okay, so that's what the podcast came from. Was the Ames Ag Summit? What was that?
that. Yeah. So it's just a farmer meeting. We had Dave talk about land values. We had a CPA talk about tax planning. We had a marketing firm, a broker, come in and talk about commodity markets. We had
Vendors and
yeah,
local
started
farmers,
this
relationship building, networking.
2014.
2015 was the first
2015?
one. Yep.
Started at a little site, and you had what, like
Yeah, we had 42 people the first year at the Holiday Inn Express. And then the second year we went to a seed shed. I think it was the second year we went
the
to
Holiday
a seed
Inn.
shed.
I went to the Holiday Inn Express. I won a trail camera.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, because we actually brought giveaways that year.
Yep.
Yep. And then we went to
I think I bought that trail camera.
the Ag Venture. You probably did.
It's a piece of shit.
Is that one you just threw away?
No, that was like 2008 trail
was-
camera I just threw away.
I got one from 3 years ago. I got on Facebook right now, and nobody will buy it. $20.
Yeah.
No, gotta get new.
Then we went to the Ag Venture seed shed, which that was cold,
Yeah,
freezing
north of
day,
Ames.
Which
Yeah.
is now Simplot.
which is now Simplot.
Yeah.
And then we were at REG's meeting room,
That was a good one.
which is no longer REG, it's now Chevron.
Yep.
And then we were at the we did 2 years at the
Ag
Ag
Information.
Information Center, and that was probably the best venue for us. Wide open space. One of the years we set up a Sukup safety home, so we got to be inside that. The volunteers that were supposed to set it up didn't arrive, so myself and loan assistant and some FFA kids.
Was that the year that our speakers didn't work, and I ran to my house real quick and
Yeah.
got speakers?
That's right. Lots of growing pains, but you get there because of those.
I won a bottle of Woodford Reserve there.
Yeah, pretty much just Corey wins.
Are
at
you
every
just
one
seeing
of
a
these.
pattern here? I won.
Every year,
Every
you
time.
were the guest.
And I wasn't even part of the podcast.
So we've had a lot of partners, a lot of advertisers, thankfully, thank them, over this time period. Is there anybody that we haven't partnered with that you wish or think we should run ads with or become a partner for?
Yank 'em. No, jerk it. Jerk it ropes.
Don't
yank it. Jerk it.
jerk it. Yeah, what is that? What was the slogan? The slogan's
Toe
better
ropes?
than that.
Is that the like hooked fishing?
No, we met them down at. Yeah, you weren't there this year. We met them
No.
down at the National Farm Machinery Show this year. They were right across from the diesel chip Steinbauer, and we were just having a beer over there after the show. And they're like, "Hey, we'd like to, partner with you guys." Well, they're just like a mom and pop shop.
Don't tow it out, jerk it out.
Don't tow it out, jerk it.
Jerk
out. Jerk it ropes.
Jerk it.
There'd be all kinds of people to.
Got a little jerk, got the mini jerk,
I think it would also be
got
cool.
the big jerk.
I think like what would be cool is if we got a big sponsorship outside of ag. Mm-hmm. I think that would be like legit.
Yeah. For some reason, I've always thought Folgers coffee.
I mean, we are a Folgers coffee brand. I mean, just run of the mill. It's nothing special, but listen, it's good and you know what you're getting, right? Like you might stray off once in a while and get the Rhubarb or the,
Do you remember the first
Black
time
Rifle.
you had coffee, Dave?
First time I ever had coffee?
Yep.
Yeah. Hunting.
And?
So my dad, I like the smell of coffee, the grounds, and when it's percolating. And he had the old school like percolator on top of the campfire style deal.
Just had some of that in Decorah.
And I thought that was awful cool. But there's like coffee grounds in your coffee when it percolates over. Just a little, yeah. I don't drink coffee.
No, I know you don't.
But that's when I had it for the first time. Like, I don't know, 11 hunting. I still love the smell of it. But
Yeah, I still remember my grandpa and grandma having it in their little cups, and I just couldn't figure out why Grandpa always drank out of such a little coffee cup. But that way, it was always super hot. You just have to go back to the pot
and get more.
and get more.
Old timers like my grandpa. I mean, right off the pot. Like how? I have a blister on my lip. Like a half hour into it. Like I need that stuff just warm.
Yeah. Dave, remind me of what your first job was.
Hardee's.
Hardee's? It was Hardee's. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Corey, what was your first job?
So if it wasn't slave labor on the farm, like at a first official job, I was a detasseler at Syngenta.
I forgot about that. I did detassel too.
Yep. So when you were, I don't think you could legally work like it, according to the state until you're 14.
That's when I started.
Yep. And I did that during the summer, so I was detasseled and hated it. And rogued like the seed that was, or the corn that was taller than all the others wasn't a pure seed.
When I was a kid, I mowed church and cemetery and had a small lawn care business, and then we would detassel for a parent seed company, but we did it privately. So you had your own contract. So you would get given a block, and me and my partner would go out and do that. So instead of being on a crew with a bus, we'd have to get ourselves there. You'd be responsible for a block, and then you'd get paid based upon your cleanliness.
Yep.
So they'd send a checker through, and if you got less than 3% skips or whatever it was, you got the full rate. But you paid way better.
Right.
But you still had to have that extra little go between. But then
I should say that mine was with Garst. I think it was Garst then.
Okay.
Not quite Syngenta.
Yeah. But then I also worked at Fairway. Stocked shelves, unloaded trucks. They had all the farm kids come because they couldn't get city kids to show up and unload a truck at 4 a.m.
So that's my wife worked at Fairway. Cut fruit, unloaded trucks, checker, did whatever. Like Fairway, I feel like it's a great kid or young first job.
I mean, all you did was talk about weather. You'd sack up their groceries and talk about the weather on the way to their car.
But some of those like conversations with the old ladies and I mean the best. Yep.
How many acres do you own, ma'am?
Correct.
Hey, I got buddies that's their whole
I saw
day,
your TikTok.
Their whole day is planned around freaking what the old ladies do and where they're eating. And
I still remember riding the pallet jacks. You'd ride them like a
done that.
skateboard and fly around the corner.
I worked at a food convenience store, supermarket.
Grocery store?
Grocery store, supermarket.
A food convenience place?
If I said the name, you wouldn't know what it was, so that's why I worded it that way. But I remember taking dry ice off the pallet and putting it in the toilet to, it bubbles up. Well, then I just shut the lid and flushed her, and I was waiting for her to blow. So
When I wasn't farming and in college, I stocked shelves for Dr. Pepper. So I'd go around to Hy-Vees,
Yeah.
Fairways, Walmarts, and pull the pop. They got so the truck driver would drop pallets of pop in the back, and
Right.
then we'd bring them up in stock. And man, a 2-liter falling from 6 foot high, landing on its lid, will shoot down a whole frickin' aisle and leave a trail of stickiness.
Huh.
Yep.
That's good.
What do you see us doing in the future?
More, hopefully. More of this.
I think this, but I think a lot's gonna go to video. I told Tanner the other day I've been watching. I don't know. Has anyone else been sucked into the watch side of TikTok? Fancy watches.
No.
Well, you will now that your phone's heard it. But like these guys out in New York are trading high-end Rolexes and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. And I could give two shits about the watch, but then you start. It's just interesting, the interaction. And so now there's this new deal coming. Like everyone's going away from Netflix and Hulu and all that. And TikTok, short form video, YouTube, short form video is your TV. And that's what they're consuming. And it is literally just
I could see it. You get
3-4
hooked and you
minutes.
spend lots of time on it, whatnot. But
Yep.
I get I watch the American Idol deals on TikTok. Singers. I like singers. I want to be a singer. I'm not a good singer, but I wanted to be a singer. And watching all the America's Got Talent and The Voice, you start watching that, your whole feed is nothing but singers, which is kind of. I'm glad the algorithm is what it is sometimes because then you don't have to look.
oh, it knows.
I see us doing more events. Not hosting, like
Yep.
not scheduling and arranging the events, but just so many ag companies right now are looking for a way to differentiate themselves from somebody else. And we have an interview style that works well for making a boring topic somewhat listened to-able.
I agree.
And we also have the way to take a person and turn their story into an actual conversation. So we get more requests, and I think if we allow ourselves, we'll probably do a lot more traveling. But that guy cares way too much about orange truck, orange mower, orange trailer. So I could see a lot of that happening. But I did prepare a game.
I could see us getting asked to end the podcast and be hosts on something like Market to Market.
I don't know. Like, I think we're
I-
too
you
extreme.
know-
That is the. That would be cool, but I also think that is the exact thing that I was trying to get away from in the beginning when we wanted to start a podcast. Was like, we don't want to be that. Don't mow your yard on Sundays. Oh, you had a beer? How could you do that?
Yeah.
But maybe
prim and
Market to
proper.
Market wants to switch the motive.
Yep. Maybe they want to switch.
I mean,
flip the
like I
switch.
said, Pat McAfee went to ESPN.
Yeah, that's true.
You got to change as long as companies are willing to change.
Yep.
Right? I never thought John Deere would ever put their name on a damn beer. Ever. And so I have the Busch Light Combine. That was one thing I didn't say in the intro. They did not want a dang thing to do with that in the beginning of that process.
Yeah.
They don't want nothing to do with drinking. 2 years later, they're on a damn Busch Light can. Like, what a change in marketing. And
Well,
that was awesome.
Just sociology. As things change, people will change. Opinions will change. What people want will change.
Things come acceptable. I mean, how many people probably were like, oh, they're just a pothead. And now weed's legal in frickin' almost half the states. And
Yep.
like people that were saying that are like retired and like, yeah, I had some gummies last night.
Yep.
Yep. Tanner has them all the time.
It's the only way I get through these conversations with you guys.
You'd be sleeping.
It put me to sleep. So I did prepare a game. We usually stop way before this, deep into the episode. But let's play a little Would You Rather, a
40
little
minutes.
quick Would You Rather. Would you rather fly with limited equipment to record or drive and bring all of your equipment with you?
Drive.
But you loved Commodity Classic.
Yeah, I did like flying because you guys drove all the equipment, but you missed the conversations of the 12-hour drive.
Yeah. The process of getting there and back is pretty fun.
So would you rather record with a guest at a trade show or have them in studio?
Ooh.
Ooh, that's tough. I think in studio, because you can get more granular. You're worried about the trade show at the trade show. You're worried about time limits at the trade show.
Get the janitor coming by with the squeaky wheel.
You're worried about making sure the vendor's okay, etc. Here, you're in your element, so everything is here. We know we have all our equipment. We know we have the bathrooms. We can take a break. We can stop. We can extend. So
just to be different, I'll say trade show because there is another level of excitement when you're. I mean, it's a performance in a sense, right? Like there's people watching, and like you can't suck, you can't take your break, you can't take your bathroom type of deal. So you have to be on your game.
And I would say, if I was to say we couldn't ever do it via Zoom or virtual ever again, I think that would just be too hard. Because how do you attract a guest into your studio, or how do you travel that much?
We'd have to get paid a lot more. Yeah. I mean, and we would have to have a private jet.
Do you think Zoom has affected podcasts? That's why more people do podcasts because they can Zoom now?
100%.
Yeah. So if there wasn't Zoom, there wouldn't be as many podcasts.
We did
because you'd have to have the guests.
But we did some of our first guests not present via phone. Remember, we used to plug the phone into the soundboard.
When there's not a video aspect or Skype. That was long. That's been around.
That was radio style
for a while.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. Well, this one's probably not going to be that hard. Would you rather never be able to choose who you get to interview again, or be sponsorless?
Oh man, that's a question for you.
That's a catch-22 because I mean, I hate to say this because it sounds like a sellout, but we've got to have partners at the rate we're going.
Yeah.
Or it's got to go way back because I'm telling you guys right now, the frickin' bill that we have monthly for all the supporting equipment and the people that edit, and I mean, we've got 6 people on frickin' part-time staff. It wouldn't be possible.
Yeah, it is fascinating how many $300 bills add up.
Oh yeah.
When you talk your subscription platform, you talk your
file
distribution,
storage,
your file
software.
storage.
The file storage is consistently full all the time. You upgrade it and it's full.
Yeah.
Equipment, yeah.
Oh. Yeah, who'd have thought when we talk about what audience size it was going to be? I didn't expect us to have the operating overhead that we do have. I wouldn't have imagined.
And you might be able to do it yourself if you all didn't have other jobs, but we all have other jobs.
We've all made the choice that we're not quitting the job.
Yep.
It's the extra thing.
So somebody wants to pay us a really lot of money if you're listening?
I mean, it would take a lot.
Okay. For you two, this is a good one. Would you rather have to host the show by yourself or have me make you prepare the outline?
Rather host the show by myself.
By myself.
I could come up with anything to talk about. Yeah.
I would chicken scratch 6 things down,
exactly.
Topics and just roll.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we did when we went live down at the NACADE conference. Even though we had an outline, we could come up with. You always, I think, any good interviewer follows the topic that the speaker wants to talk about.
Yep. I mean, it's how do I say this without sounding like we direct the interviews? It's not hard to direct the guest where you want them to go based upon the questions you're asking.
Guided.
Yeah. But that also puts a lot of weight on our shoulders because if an interview sucks, it's probably because we asked bad questions.
There's just some people that.
Or we couldn't get a word in edgewise.
That's fair.
or they
couldn't ask the question.
Or they give one-word answers.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Don't.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Why come on a podcast if you're going to say 6 words?
Yeah.
Right?
They like the idea. It sounded great.
Yeah.
Some people are just very extremely nervous.
Yeah. So we each have access to farms. Obviously, Corey plays on his a little bit more frequently than Dave and I do. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite task on the farm?
That's ever changing. I mean, so if you want to go do you like harvest or you like planting? Mm-hmm. I was always a planting guy. Mm-hmm. I'm the plant. I'm the guy. I'm out there by myself. I just need me to bring me seed. It's not drug on for 2.5 months. I do like harvest, but this spring made me switch to harvest a little bit.
Oh yeah,
it's just It wasn't terrible now that I look back on it, but it just sure felt like a struggle.
Mine will be different. Originally, my first answer popped in was cutting hay because I like the smell of hay and on the tractor, open air, cab, etc. But I thought about it more, and my favorite thing is fabrication. I like to invent stuff. I like to build stuff, fix stuff that we can make better.
Right.
So any farm fabrication. I like
So
that.
you're the shop guy.
I'm the shop guy. Make fence, make this. You need that beam in there. Well, is that going to hold? Is that going to work? That's
Right.
the part I like.
I would say I don't have enough hours in the combine to where whenever I'm running it, I'm more anxious because it always seems like there's a lot of time between last time I operated it and the time I've gotten into it. I love the challenge of trying to keep up with a 16-row corn head in the grain cart.
That's fun.
You hop and have to do things right, trying to unload and fill a truck in under 2 minutes, whatever it ends up being.
Yep.
There's that challenge. But last year was the first year I've gotten to mow hay. And
Yeah, that's fun.
There was something peaceful about that. I mean, just watching,
right?
watching the grass blow in front of you and just, yeah, that was one I didn't expect to enjoy doing. Yeah. What's your least favorite? What were
Cleaning
you gonna
out
say?
grain bins, loading hogs.
Yeah. Rotten soybeans, cleaning out a bin,
I mean,
stepping in.
pretty much anything to do with hogs. I mean, I'm a hog farmer. I enjoy hog. I actually don't mind taking care of the pigs. It's the damn buildings, right, that are 25 years old. They're more work than the hogs, and it's a corrosive environment, salt in the feed and moisture and all that, and it just it never fails. Something will break the day that you wanted to take off and go to a golf tournament or do a trip or whatever, holiday.
Yeah,
The pigs are a tool in my mind.
Right now, I can't get the smell of rotten soybeans out of my nose.
Oh yeah, if you step in that's worse than stepping in dog poop or
Any
cat
manure.
poop.
Right. What's your least favorite, Dave?
I was thinking a different route. I was thinking the paperwork side of it. So our farm's super small. So our farm is literally tax write-off.
Yep.
So we never make money. Ever.
Yep.
So every time I get in a conversation with my wife, well, hey, let's do this, let's do that. No, we can't do that. Or let's do this, or let's spend more money. So the least favorite part is the planning. I like all the farming aspects, even when stuff breaks, whatever, it's fine. It's cleaning manure, spreading manure, all that. It's the tough conversations because I want it to be profitable, yet I know it's never going to be for the way that we...
Well, maybe if you didn't buy a $100,000 tractor.
Well, there is that. There is that. I like nice stuff. I'm the equipment guy, so I want the best equipment, but on a small scale.
I am so I don't know how to say this. I'm a fabricator as well. I love that shit, but I just like waxing the tractors. I said before we got on air, like I never. So since I love being busy and I'm a scatterbrain. Like I got a bunch of shit going on. It looks like if you come and it looks like I got shit scattered everywhere. That's just how my brain works. But I never just sit down and be like, man, I should just go wax that tractor. I have nothing else to do. Or man, I should fabricate this up from my hay mower and like that would be great. Like I just don't have that time and I don't know. Since kids, like
Makes
living on a
difference.
farm, but.
That's a good point. So, as we think about wrapping up this episode on ourselves, I can't believe we talked as long as we did talk.
Yeah, we haven't got halfway through the outline.
We got a couple of questions here that we
Okay.
let me scroll back. Mike Burkhart, what was there any one person that made you know that agriculture was going to be your career?
Well, it was my dad. I mean, it was my dad, but then also his banker is what helped me because I realized that early on I didn't like the instability that we had income-wise, being Farrow to Finish Hog Farm.
Yep.
And my dad's banker was very welcoming to an internship, and during those, that time period, he made it very clear that you can still be in agriculture, and you don't, there's a lot of different careers that assist the operations. So between dad and the banker,
I would say dad as well. I'm conflicting on that though because he also told me to go to college because farming may not be there because it wasn't that great. at the time. Like maybe you need, you're smart enough or whatever. You can go do anything you want. At least go get your college degree. You'll figure it out if farming isn't there for you. And so then I'm going to say it's probably. I'm thinking of like my cattle professor, and I don't have cattle, but like I just
There's probably lots of people though that contribute.
Yeah, it was a lot of, and I think what I love about ag is I love farming, but I love that you kind of make your own schedule, right? Like you're the farmer, like no one's telling you go plant on this day, or I mean, there's things like that, but you got the time. Like if you want to put in the extra work here and then go do a podcast over here, like I can do that. Right, like if I did this on a regular job, I'd have to take PTO off.
Like me.
Like Tanner. Good thing you negotiated that in your contract.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave has to take PTO out on Whitaker Marketing.
I just work later. Like you said.
Right.
Same deal. You just work later.
Yeah, if you own your own business.
Stuff that I missed.
You still get your 8 hours in or 16.
There has been times I needed to book a deal like when we were here, but that's the beauty of flexible of three of us.
Yep.
What was another question?
I don't think Dave ever answered that, but
That would have been my wife.
okay. From
She's the cattle behind
Farmers Tan, Farmers_Tan. Enjoy the podcast. Most of my listening comes from mowing, keeping the U-pick fields clean, and then maybe an episode on balancing a farm and off-farm job since it's becoming a lot more common. Is it becoming a lot more common? Because I feel it's becoming more common. I feel like that was very common back in the day, though. I said this on a couple shows ago. We were going through my grandpa's old taxes from like 1964 and 65.
He worked at John Deere,
and he had W-2s from John Deere. It'd get to the winter time, and they need some little extra income, and they'd go work at the factory in town.
I think it's more common, and the reason I think it is because how long does it take you to plant? Week and a half?
Right.
Okay, week and a half, you're done. You can hire spraying out. You can hire pesticide. You can scout. You can even hire that.
But that's not farming for profit.
Okay, and then even harvest.
Maybe it is, though, too.
You might harvest, and what's that take? Another month?
Month can drag out, or harvest can drag out a while.
So if you're 3 months total, what do you do the other months of the year? That's where I think somebody all has a side job and benefits. Benefits become very important.
And you can work so remotely.
Yeah.
Now, I can't remember who I was talking to. I think it was a co-op guy, but like, if you own your own sprayer, which is very smart, it's up there with tile and grain bins on what pays you back, but it is time sucking. I mean, we live in that dang thing all summer long, and we got 3 of us that are kind of rotating in and out, and it still feels like, it's like, man, that's all we do is put hours on that sprayer. We save a lot of money. I put it up on the big whiteboard over the winter, like trying to justify, we made this much on custom, and you got to have this much. You probably make a little bit because you can get it sprayed when you want. The products that you want to buy come at cash and carry and all that. But what are you being profitable in? Just money or life? I don't know.
Right.
So,
you got any more questions? You want me to go into one of my last ones that I wanted to ask us?
Mike Burkhart said, maybe Dave needs to listen to the Farm4Profit podcast.
I do. Tax planning.
Yeah, Dave listens to like 2 shows a year. He just is on them.
Oh, whatever.
Do a podcast about how to simplify the part most farmers hate, office time software.
Just talked about it.
Yeah. So if you weren't spending the, almost 6 hours this afternoon today, 5 hours today, if you weren't doing that on a weekly, bi-weekly basis, what would you guys be doing if we didn't have a podcast? Because it's more than just the time we sit on the mics.
Right.
It's the text, the
I'd
conversation,
love
the
to have
strategy.
some like fulfillment answer for you of like I would work out and get more done on the farm, but I'd probably just waste it doing
Be on
something.
TikTok.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd get more done, but
Exactly. I'd like to say it would be something else. Maybe if I was lucky, I would be, trying to do a part-time job, a side hustle. You see it all the time where if you set this link up to this product to set, sell it or push somebody to this direction. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I would not just be sitting at home. Maybe I'd still be playing slow pitch softball. I don't know. Play more golf.
Well, okay, yep. Used to play volleyball on Monday nights. Used to play softball, slow pitch on Wednesday nights.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that anymore. I'm retired. Used to duck hunt. Like I said, I'm retired from that.
Yeah.
But
What would you just work more?
That was kind of my first answer was I want to there's things I want to do for my company that I don't have time to do that I'm thinking of hiring out, like Google. I want to be better at Google, and I need time to study it, but I don't have the time. So I'm hiring it out. So I might do some of the things that I'm hiring out, try and take those over if I had more time. But as we get older, like tonight, my kid just asked me, can you go trap shooting with me tonight? It's going to be closed by the time we get done. So you and I both have been to baseball games and softball games and Mercy. Maybe we'd be – you're a coach. See, I don't coach because I tell people I don't have the time to coach. I can't commit to every –
Yeah, and the coaching thing's tough because I'm not a good bleacher dad. Like I would be shouting from the bleachers more likely to help my child.
Yeah.
So I do it from the dugout to be, hopefully
Official.
more constructive.
Yeah.
But I wish there was a game only coach. I don't have to go to practice.
Oh,
I don't mind going to practice, but that's what sucks up so much time. When you've got 2 games a week and you want to do a practice or 2, I love my girls to death, but holy cow, you just don't do anything besides that.
Yep.
Yeah, so it is. It's tough. I'm excited for what year 5 is going to bring. It's been fun to see where we've came from. It's always that position too of once you get someplace, there's that fear of it falling off.
There could be. Think of like Friends.
Yeah.
When Friends eventually hey, we're not.
I called Corey, texted him and called him this week because there's always an end to something, and we are not hinting at anything. We've got all of July's shows planned out, guys. The podcast is not in.
But come August. Boy, we hit that one on the, come August.
you guys are gone.
But the Twisted History podcast is stopping. One of my favorite podcasts.
Oh God, he's been crying to me about it all week.
Forever. What the hell am I going to listen to?
Farm4Profit.
It's scary. What do you? Yeah.
It was.
I hope it doesn't
Is Twisted
stop.
History daily?
No, it's weekly.
Just a weekly podcast.
Yep. Usually about an hour and a half. Topic every week comes out Wednesday nights.
I mean, what do you think gets us? What is the next level, and what do you think gets us there? I mean, I said short form video, but just like podcast realm, is it daily?
I think it's staying on top of what's coming next. So the question you're asking, Tanner thought about it 4 years ago. I'm like, who the hell listens to podcasts? He's like, oh, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. Huge. But forward thinking is what's going to keep it valid.
I've thought about writing a book.
Have you been reached out to by the ghostwriters?
No.
So we had that show. We
Yeah.
talked to,
Honest Farming.
TDF.
Yep.
Josie.
Yep. Derek. No, did they reach out to you?
I am serious. The freaking next week I got reached out to by a ghostwriter.
Oh.
Have you ever thought about writing a book? I'm a ghostwriter. On what? Of course, LinkedIn. But no, I haven't, and that just ended there. But I never respond to any LinkedIn messaging. And
I've totally thought about writing a book. You want to know the title?
Farming for Profit.
No, you can say a lot without saying the right thing.
Oh,
That's the name of my book. I just don't have the content yet.
Yeah. That was interesting.
You don't have to. You can have a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
Just tell them what you want.
I want somebody to write my autobiography for me.
That's a ghostwriter.
It's an autobiography.
It's a ghostwriter in the sky.
AI will do it for me now. Write me a book.
That's funny. Well, guys, I didn't think we'd be able to go this long, and I actually kind of had fun while we did it.
I feel like we go more.
Yeah? You want to go more?
I don't care.
It's your show.
It's my show.
What would you tell yourself if you could go back at age 18?
I'm glad I had the outline. I thought about this one.
It's the same question we asked everybody.
But I didn't know if he did.
All right, here you go. They said buy Tesla and Bitcoin the other day. I'd say buy freaking land. Find whoever the hell that will give you money, leverage the shit out of it, and buy it all. Buy everything you possibly can.
Yeah, I would.
Well, you're the materialistic weasel of the bunch, aren't you?
No, I mean, I wouldn't be working right now.
No, you're good.
And if you want to go to the women route, it could be a different path.
Ooh, I saw a TikTok the other day that went around the room asking.
Does your wife listen to this?
I saw a
No,
TikTok.
I'm not meaning marriage. I'm just talking like in college. Look at that old girl.
Old Alice.
70-30?
The went around the room on a radio show asking if they had one that got away. Talking about a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, and the women are like, yeah, oh yeah, everybody's got one of those. Yeah, I've got one of those. And the male radio host goes, do you think I'm somebody's that got away? No. no, that's completely. Wow, that was fast, ladies. That was. We're gonna have to go to commercial break because I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna need a Kleenex and just. Yeah, thought that was kind of funny. I would probably start investing in real estate sooner. I would tell myself, you're never gonna be fully ready. I think that's probably what I would. It could go a lot of different ways, but you're never gonna be fully ready. You just got to go do it.
Mike, would you tell an 18-year-old today to buy as much ground as possible at today's prices?
Hey, if it's going to be $30,000 12 years from now.
See, here's my problem. Okay. We obviously live on the edge of a metro, so we have some inflated prices. But regular farmland in the middle of nowhere is what, Dave? 15, 20 grand?
Yeah. Average at 12.3.
The problem that the metric that I watch is these guys on the edge of town. Yeah, back in early 2000s, they might have sold out for $40,000-$45,000 an acre, and that was But they moved an hour outside, and they went and bought ground for $3,500 to $5,500 an acre. Almost, was that 10 to 1? Almost. You can't do that now. You might be if you sell to like Facebook or Microsoft.
You're still only getting 40 or 50 grand an acre.
You might be able to get up to 70. They start selling by the square foot at some points, like where it's $2 or $3 per square foot. You're right, so like 80 to 120,000. But for the most part, residential, you didn't get the commercial side of things. Yeah, 40, 35. You can't go out. You can go buy 1.5 acres per one. Mm-hmm. So are we underpriced?
I don't know, but I bet you every farmer I've ever talked to said, I should have bought that farm, I should have bought that farm. Myself included, had the opportunity to buy a farm. But here's the problem. Just like people tell me, well, it's a tax write-off. Go buy that $100,000 tractor.
Absolutely.
Somebody still has to make the payment. Mm-hmm. So although I'd love to say, go buy more farmland, I had the opportunity to buy more farmland when I was younger, and I couldn't afford it.
Right.
When I couldn't afford it, I had to make the decision that was right at that time for the family at that time. So if I went back to 18, mine is non-ag related at all. I remember standing on a fence next to our neighbor, and I wanted to be a firefighter so bad that I was 17, been in paramedic school, ready to start applying, and I'm like, why won't these guys hire me, and why won't they, I was mad, like I'm already there. And he said to me, why are you in such a hurry to grow up? Mm-hmm. If I went back at 18, I would say, don't be in such a hurry to grow up. I would travel. I would try to go to Australia, see what that's like. I would, because soon as you grow up and become an adult, then you have adult things you have to take care of. When you're a kid, I didn't do the college route like you did, so there was no parties, there was truck payments, there was house payments, and there was a lot for me like an adult immediately. Mm-hmm. And then I wanted to have kids and get married right away, and I was married by 22 and kids by 20 whatever, and so I wouldn't be in such a hurry because I watch young people get experience the world. Now, that being said, no regrets. Looking back, I'm glad I did, because when I look at all the other 40-year-olds, I feel like I'm ahead. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I'm ahead because I was trying to be ahead, but I was a little too worried about growing up too quick.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Annie said travel more. I would tell myself that at 18 too, because the first 3 years of college, I was offered study abroad stuff. Never went. Finally, there was a shorter 2-week or 3-week one down to Panama my senior year. I'm like, hell, I'll get a couple guys that I'm friends with. And it was a good small group of ag people, and we had a blast. And at the end, I remember coming back and being like, That was so freaking cool, and I'm so mad at myself for not doing that
Yep.
the other 3 years.
I had never flown before college, and got to do the Mexico, Jamaica, got to take those trips with different organizations, and so worth it.
Yep.
But we never did that as a kid. We drove places, did stupid bus tours as choir and band trips, but
I think we're so programmed, somewhat, maybe it's sociology at its best, that says, do what your dad did. You do what you know. You invest in what you know. I actually thought about this on our last vacation last week, is I'm going to make a list of every job out there and show my kid, and then talk to him about, what is this job? What is that job? Because right now, all they know is the jobs that they know from us doing, or the jobs that they see their friends' parents do. There are so many jobs out there.
Right. High school doesn't really
so
teach
many.
that stuff, do they? Like,
why
do I need to know chemistry?
you used to have job fairs.
I want him to go out and look at 40 different jobs, even though it's something way out of the box. See, like when you guys listen to podcasts, maybe you listen to egg podcasts. I listen totally different podcasts.
Twisted History,
Yeah.
Rump Chat. Like I said, okay, so you've heard
Call her daddy.
you've heard the TikTok, the $7 million
Yeah,
bull
Bull
rider.
Rider.
That's one
Yep,
of the
JP
hosts,
Mooney.
That's one of the hosts of, not JP Mooney, but the announcer that's announcing him
Yep.
is one of the hosts of Rump Chat.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, absolutely. I listen to ag podcasts, but then I love dipping outside with my Twisted History or American History Tellers or Rump Chat. Used to be Conan O'Brien. I enjoyed his Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. So, yeah, kind of a wide mix, but that's how you don't get in a vacuum. You're able to bring things from podcasts outside of ag that might be able to help push agriculture forward or make us the trendsetters. Mm-hmm. Well, good. Any more questions, or should we close this baby up?
Mainly comments. Huey says, "Hey y'all, you were just here, Huey. Hello." Mike remembered when he was 18, ground was $2,200 an acre and corn was $165. I don't know. It sounds like that'll cash flow.
It does, actually.
They don't make land anymore. I remember 1982 is from Eric. Dad stopped bidding on a 160 at $300 an acre, and he's still kicking himself. Mm-hmm. We tried to buy my great-grandpa's farm after he died, and it went to $1,900 an acre. This is early 2000s. No, we could not go there. Nope, can't do that. Who's on the pod, Huey? Just us. It's just us. This is a rare occurrence.
But like I said, I feel like we could keep going. So maybe we don't wait 4 years to do the next one.
No, that's fun. I think it's a good one to have up the sleeve, like for any time a guest backs out on us and we need a show.
We did one
we
like
could do
that.
that.
That was one we did. Nobody showed up, so just we talked, and I don't remember what we talked about.
Yeah. No, I think this was good. Gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with us, for hanging out with me, for giving the listeners
takes
something
a
to
lot.
listen to. It can take a lot. And I think our listeners fully get that each one of us has our strengths. So it's been fun. Listeners, you guys are great. We're going to keep doing this until you tell us not to. So what do you say, Corey?
Crack a bush light. You deserve it.